Simple terms, pag sinabi mong watershed, yan yung tubig kandungan na
Mm.
nagpo-flow mula sa mga upper reaches ng mga mountains. Parang bowl ba?
Mhm.
Pababa ng mga rivers and waterways before it comes out to sea.
Okay.
So pag sinabi mong Upper Marikina watershed, yan yung umaagos sa Marikina River, sa Pasig River, palabas ng Manila Bay. So lahat ng mga pagbabaha na nararanasan mo, di ba, comes from the deterioration of that water tank, so to speak.
Okay.
Lahat yan nagsisimula para sa amin. At sa totoo nang naman, di ba? Sa pagkasira ng mga kagubatan natin na dapat nag-hold ng tubig na yon. And this is supposed to be able to time the release of the water
Okay.
into the waterways through the year.
Today's guest is Anne Dumalyang, one of the leading voices of environmental conservation in the Philippines. She is a trustee and managing partner at the Masungi Georeserve, a reforestation project in the province of Rizal. Anne has been a prominent advocate for sustainable development, biodiversity protection, and ecotourism. Masungi has gained global attention for its innovative approach for community engagement, conservation, and immersive nature experiences. Her work has earned international recognition and has positioned her as one of the leading environmental advocates in Southeast Asia. Join us and welcome to the Mad Jeepney Show. Anne Dumalyang, welcome. So, you're currently managing a globally recognized protected site known for its ecotourism, among other things. But in your own words, what exactly is the Masungi Georeserve and why should people care about it?
So yung Masungi Georeserve, it's a conservation project at heart, no? And it's supported by education and sustainable development through creative engineering and geotourism. Yun yung brand ng tourism na ginagawa namin sa Masungi. At mahalaga siya because it protects the backyard of Metro Manila, particularly to the east. So these 60 million year old limestone karst formations that are an arc for biodiversity. Napakaraming samot-saring uri ng buhay na matatagpuan sa loob. At dahil bahagi rin siya ng Upper Marikina watershed. So yung bigger relevance niya as a project actually is how it stands for the critically deteriorated watershed that supports Metro Manila. So pag sinabi mong watershed, familiar ka ba sa mga watershed concepts? Ganyan?
please educate me.
Yeah, so in simple terms, pag sinabi mong watershed, yan yung tubig kandungan na nagpo-flow mula sa mga upper reaches ng mga mountains. Parang bowl ba? Pababa ng mga rivers and waterways before it comes out to sea.
Okay.
So pag sinabi mong Upper Marikina watershed, yan yung umaagos sa Marikina River, sa Pasig River, palabas ng Manila Bay.
So pag umuulan or may other water sources from that rock or mountain formation, it gets captured in a watershed, is that right?
Parang gano'n, no?
And
Yan
then-
yung takbuhan ng tubig pababa.
Okay, so para siyang natural water tank that supplies the water dun sa iba't ibang rivers natin in the Metro Manila area. Tama ba?
That's an interesting analogy. Oo. So lahat ng mga pagbabaha na nararanasan mo, 'di ba? Comes from the deterioration of that water tank, so to speak.
Okay.
Diba? So yung mga pagbabaha in the metro at kung ano pa, yung disasters na nararanasan natin kapag tag-ulan, lahat yan nagsisimula para sa amin at sa totoo nang naman, 'di ba? Sa pagkasira ng mga kagubatan natin na dapat nag-hold ng tubig na yon. No? And this is supposed to be able to time the release of the water
Okay.
into the waterways through the year,
So-
among other things. No?
So
It's
in
a-
addition to maybe the natural shield that the mountain range and the rock formations provide when it comes to the wind coming from the east, tama ba?
Oo,
Medyo malayo na yun. Oh, pwede.
Pwede naman. Part naman siya ng Sierra Madre Mountain Range. So yung
Okay.
hagipit na yun ng hangin that also
Yeah,
helps with it. Hindi nga namin nararamdaman yun gaano and Masungi just because of the rock formations.
Okay. Interesting.
So, important siya, no? Because we're talking about the seat of the country. We're
Yeah.
talking about 20 million Filipinos in Metro Manila and in the surrounding provinces.
Yeah.
And it's heavily reliant on the health of that watershed that is already critically deteriorated. And when we're talking about critical deterioration, hindi siya simpleng deterioration lang. We're talking about 13-23% forest cover in a place that's supposed to be at 70-90%.
So when you say critically deteriorating watershed, how exactly does a watershed deteriorate?
Deforestation,
Okay.
largely, no? Encroachment of different establishments and structures that aren't meant to be in those sensitive and steep areas. That's how it happens. So yung Masungi, yung project namin dito, I mean, Masungi started in 2015. It launched as a brand in 2015, 2016. By 2017, with Secretary Gina Lopez, the heart of the project became restoring the upper reaches of the rock formations. And yung upper reaches na to, ito rin yung lower part ng Upper Marikina watershed next to Marcos Highway. So in addition to the fact that they're very steep areas that need protection, tactically it's also very important to get those areas protected so that encroachment does not happen quickly in your more sensitive sites further upland.
Yeah.
No? So, yeah. So that's part of what we do. Ginagawa namin yun supported by the tourism work we're doing in the core areas. And we're financing it on our own, basically at no cost to government.
And for those not familiar of its location, baka you wanna promote a bit or talk about where exactly it's located in Luzon, and how to get there.
Yep. Very easy to reach. You just go on Marcos Highway up until kilometer 45.
Okay.
An hour and a half away from Metro Manila, andun ka na. So napakalapit lang.
So an hour and a half away from Metro Manila sa east side, no?
East side, yeah.
Yes, Rizal province.
Correct.
Okay. And
Particularly in the Baras municipality.
Baras municipality. Yung Masungi, for those at least in the Metro Manila area, this is actually quite popular in terms of a weekend getaway or maybe a weekend thing to do. Alam ko you guys do a lot of activities there that involve trekking,
Yeah.
even educational hikes, and even parang celestial
Oo, meron pang stargazing ngayon.
stargazing
Habang
activities.
clear ang skies.
Pwede pang date doon, no? Para doon sa mga nag-iisip na mga pwedeng gawin with their loved ones or liniligawan ba lang. 1.5 hours
come
away
on.
from...
Hindi ko pa na-explore yung angle na yan, ha?
Pwede.
Noted.
Oo, pwede yun. Tapos, well, at least, alam kong medyo known siya in that sense. And of course, apart from the being known in the global community of environmentalists. Pero siguro, for those not too familiar with its history, how exactly did Masungi start as a project? And ano ba ang story nito from before to now, where it's a globally recognized and awarded ecotourism hub?
So, yung story niya actually started from my dad.
Okay.
It's not me and my sister who started the entire conservation work there. It's our dad. It just happens that sobrang tahimik niyang tao. And
Oo.
he'd rather work the ground, no?
Yeah.
Kaya hindi siya ganong napapakinggan ng mga iba. But he's an engineer. Nagkaroon siya ng proyekto in that area that's around housing and development, actually. And then later on, hindi ganon ka naging successful yung development project, but he was required to give the shares of government. No, so he was forced to do that. But in return, what it gave him is the opportunity to modify the concept of the land and better control over how it's disposed.
Okay.
So when that happened, instead of developing it, ang ginawa niya, he restored the area. So this was happening in the 1990s, early 2000s.
So
Wala
what
pang
was the
ganong ingay doon.
what was the plan back then? What was the plan? You mentioned he was an
Yeah.
engineer. He was supposed to have a project with the government. Ano ba yung eksakto yung dapat nangyari nung panahon na yun?
Supposed to be a housing development. Na,
Dun sa mismong lugar.
Oo, doon sa mismong
okay.
lugar. So, back in the day kasi, ngayon, magubat na siya, diba? Pero nung mga panahon na yon, sobrang deteriorated na ng lugar. It was really barren. Very ripe for development na siya. And you'll notice kung pumunta ka sa site, yung katabi namin, housing development, it's a Santa Lucia area. Apparently, yung northern parts namin were given away for quarries to work on, diba?
Okay.
And then right beside us is another titled property. So to an extent, the going understanding then was, okay, this part of the area will get developed.
Okay.
It's part of the area that will most likely be used for a different purpose already.
Yeah.
Pagdating naman ng tatay ko, kita niya yung mga bato.
Yeah.
No? And nakita niya how important those rock formations are. Backstory, he's worked on water projects through the country, but also in Africa.
Wow.
So when talking about studying water scarcity and the impact of development on waterways and life support ecosystems, meron siyang
Technical
understanding.
know-how.
Yeah, meron siyang technical know-how of that. And we're not talking about, foresters, diba? And scientists who almost everyone already expects to understand bakit kailangan pangalagaan yung mga lugar na to. You're hearing it from an engineer,
Yeah.
no, who normally people believe is inclined towards development, but is saying, no, if we want to give water to people, that's not the way to develop this area, considering the reliance of so many to it. So nung nakita niya yon, kind of joined with the unfortunate, situation na hindi naging successful yung housing part. For him, yes, there's a cost to it, but it's also a unique opportunity to change how that area is going to be used. So it really started with him and how persistent he is na, that happens despite the odds.
So, kumbaga, directionally, it was really meant to be a housing development. But when your dad assessed the area and the general surrounding area, nakita niya
Sayang.
na sayang and that there's
Parang
a
hindi
better use
dapat.
for it.
Oo.
Okay.
Diba?
Okay.
Mahirap lang nung time na yun. Kasi I think when he was developing he was supposed to develop that site. It was happening apparently alongside many other housing developments in the thousands throughout the metro. And you're familiar with Varas.
yeah,
In the
yeah.
1990s, the Marcos Highway was hardly
Wala.
even there.
Oo,
Mahirap
oo.
marating,
Oo,
di ba?
oo.
So naturally, mas maraming nag-take ng opportunity in the Taguig area, ganon. And yun yung mga nag-flourish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, ayan. A blessing in disguise is how he wants to put it.
Okay. And that was in the 90s, right?
90s, 2000s. Yeah.
90s, 2000s. And then what happened from the 90s to 2000s to when Masungi was actually founded?
I guess the next, kung yung usual storyline
Next
lang namin na
chapter.
sinasabi,
Oo.
the next chapter is me and my sister coming in already.
Okay.
So I graduated in 2013 and spent a year and a half in industry. After that, I went to work in Masungi already or on Masungi. And we wanted to put up Masungi G-Reserve as a brand just because of how quiet the work has been in the
Yeah.
past years and how big the risks are.
Sure.
Diba? So imagine mo, nararamdaman mo ng kalaban mo quarries. Diba? Nararamdaman mo na yung pressures ng armed groups. And yet, 20 tao lang kayo nakakaintindi ba't ayaw nyong i-develop yan. Diba?
But ang tricky part dyan, or if maybe for those not too familiar, in terms of deciding what actually happens to the land, ano ba talaga yung framework or governance structure where we operate in that determines how it's gonna be used for the betterment of the Philippines or let's say the province?
Right. Well, in the Philippines, because of the NIPAS law and the E-NIPAS law, meron tayong tinatawag na mga protected areas.
Ano ba yung NIPAS and E-NIPAS para sa mga ano?
Sorry. National Basically, protected areas law. So, paano ba natin i-govern at isi-select yung ating mga protected areas? At meron
Okay.
tayong mga protektadong lugar sa Pilipinas because, well, largely ito yung mga life support ecosystems natin that either people depend on or a lot of forms of life depend on. So, we're one of the 17 mega diverse countries of the world. We're supposed to have a lot of protected areas. We've made good progress in determining and creating protected areas. The issue normally, as it is in many areas, diba, is how you implement the laws that are
Yeah.
supposed to be protecting those sites.
Okay, so there's a NIPAS or INAIPAS law which determines the protected area. So I assume meron yan parang mapa
Oo.
na in the Philippines, ito yung mga protected areas ng bansa because of reason 1, 2, 3, di ba?
Right.
Biodiversity or
Water
critical to water
security.
security, marine biodiversity, maybe, right?
Landscape importance, many
Or
reasons.
pati ba yung historical importance or iba naman yun?
Yung mga heritage sites,
Heritage
iba naman
sites.
yun, no? On the cultures.
But it's the same logic siguro. There's a
Correct,
framework
oo.
like yung mga UNESCO heritage site na something significant happened from a historical perspective.
You can put it that way, yeah.
Itong INAIPAS is more from
Kumbaga natural heritage and cultural heritage.
by sheer virtue of its existence and what is in there, naturally speaking, should be preserved. Parang ganon. Okay. So etong part ng Masungi na to, nandun siya sa mapa ng protected areas.
Okay, ano pa tayo doon? Marami pa tayo pa.
Marami pang-
Sikot-sikot bago tayo dumating doon.
Shortcut ba yung
Shortcut
dinaanan
yun,
ko?
hindi.
Pero mukhang
Medyo marami pa.
Okay, iba.
Anyway, sige. So, meron tayong mga protected areas.
Okay.
The one that relates to Masungi is Upper Marikina. No? So,
Okay.
the Upper Marikina protected site, actually patong-patong na yung protected areas dyan. There's one in 1977. There's the Forestry Code in 1975. When Ondoy happened, Ninoy Aquino and his government, diba?
Noy.
Noy, sorry.
Oo.
Noy Aquino. Ay, hindi. How can I
Yata.
forget? Yeah, anyway, in 2011.
Oo.
No, so in 2011, they reinforced it. Yeah. They reinforced it, created another protected site altogether. Yeah, so it's basically repeating bakit mahalagang protektahan yung lugar na to. Paulit-ulit. No? But it never happens. Right? Because yun nga, yung mga laws around illegal activities, even if they exist, they do not get implemented.
Tsaka depende sa ano siguro no? Sa political climate and sa priorities, no? And or maybe even interpretation of what counts as part of this law or this program.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we'll go there a little bit more. We can go there a little bit more
Sure.
later on.
Sure.
But yung core area that we were working on, it's supposed to be just adjacent to your protected sites.
Okay.
Supposed to be just adjacent to Upper Marikina. So as time went on, because it was being protected, and then the core protected areas getting deteriorated, ang lumalabas pa 20 years after is it's more protected, more lush than what is supposed to be your protected site.
Okay. So it's not necessarily part of the protected area. It's just adjacent to it. But now, because of its reforestation and how it's grown from before, it actually has a lot more qualifiers to be considered as a protected area versus the initially in scope area, which is the Upper Marikina area. Tama ba?
Yeah, tama. Pero
So-
malaki kasi yung lugar eh. No? So
Malaki.
ngayon, yung
Kano kalaki
reforestation
ba?
site natin, it's about 2,700 hectares now.
Grabe,
including
2,700
the
hectares.
reforestation site. So yung reforestation sites natin, that overlaps with the Upper Marikina watershed. No?
Okay.
So yung initial area in the 1990s, hindi. No? But point is, it should be that protected sana. If you implement the law, if you have the resources for it, no, it should be as lush as what is meant to be just on the fringe of that protected site. So when you talk about protected sites, normally meron yang strict protection zone, meron yang conservation zones, merong multiple use zone. If you're at the fringe of it, to one extent, the best case scenario that's expected of you is your sustainable development, diba? But you're not held to the same forest cover standards as what's in the protected sites.
Yes.
If I'm making sense.
Yeah.
When they did the core area, nasa core area pa lang tayo. When they started the core area, ang maganda kay Papa and the people in DNR that he was working with during that time is they had the vision already na dapat dapat irespeto yung terenong lupa. So in effect, more than 70% of it gets restored and is retained as forest spaces afterwards, and mga nasa 30% lang i-develop. No? So even for a developer, that's unheard of. Kasi normally, ang rules mo sa building
Maximize.
code, you maximize saleable area.
yeah,
Diba? So what does the building code require? It's that you just leave 30% of open spaces, and then 70% of it you can do
Dito-
the hell you want with it.
Dito
Diba?
baliktad.
Dito
Parang
baliktad.
30%.
Correct.
Parang back then, the team who was scoping it from a technical perspective, so na let's not disrupt it. 30% lang ang gamitin. Parang ganun.
Oo.
Okay.
No? So maganda siya. It actually, in essence, is a good complement to the fact na it's right next to a protected site. Diba? And ideally, you can talk about land use from upstream to downstream.
Yeah.
Ideally, ganun yun.
Yeah.
And you respect na certain portions need to be protected, certain portions can be developed, no? Pero they're really sensitive sites that should be no-go zones.
Yes, yes. And the person who determines, or the authority who determines what's no go, what's maybe 30%, 70% go, who is that authority?
In the larger scheme of things, of course, it's government. It should be DNR
Okay.
for forest lands, for protected areas. No? And the surrounding areas, of course, the local government has a huge say on that. Let's say it's titled areas, diba? And yung master planning of the entire LGU depends on what's in the
Master plan.
the master
Yeah,
plan,
yeah,
the integrated use plan of the municipality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pero as we know, syempre when we talk about Land Use Act, mga ganitong bagay, these are things that are yet to be even formalized as a law properly. So that must align yung land use natin.
Lapit
And
lang
mas
tayo.
integrated yung land use natin from your uplands all the way to your city centers.
Gets. Pati, given nga na siguro, related to that, where there's also an angle of maybe how one understands the plan, no? And given na paiba-iba nga ng, government officials every 6 years, 3 years even for local government, how do you see that as a challenge and an opportunity in terms of the long-term success of projects like yours?
Ay nako, very good question because that normally really gets in the way. One mayor understand that it needs to be protected, the next one trashes it, cancels the ordinances whatsoever. Diba? In terms of protecting the area. This one establishes this as a priority. The next one wants something of a project for himself, kaya tinatrash na yung mga past ones. Mahirap talaga yon kasi when you talk about reforestation, for you to bring back the forest, it takes
Tagal
you
yan.
120 years to bring back the biodiversity
Correct.
and the health of a forest ecosystem as a whole. No, hindi lang yan tree planting eh. It's bringing back the diversity of life that should be there.
Yeah.
Taking care of the soil, the water, in addition to just the planting that's happening.
And-
So it takes 120 years. So naturally, yung mga short-term oriented leadership goals tends to clash with that long-term prioritization.
And even the interpretation of what the vision is supposed to be, diba? Can change.
Yeah, pero if you think about it, that should govern how we plan everything. Diba? At heart, when you talk about the climate crisis, when you talk about the biodiversity crisis and planetary boundaries, what will, parang yung magsasalba ng lahat ng yan is baseline respect for your life support ecosystems. You can't honor your life support ecosystems and take care of it. You can talk about lower emissions. You can talk about wind energy, but you're probably hitting another side of the planetary boundaries that you're supposed to be protecting anyway. At the end, it's harder to reach a balanced planet, diba?
And you mentioned a couple of valid points when it comes to different sustainable development goals. Of course, all of them are intrinsically good in themselves in isolation, or uh, maybe even intention wise, right? Pero it's really the balance of, let's say, these things where really leadership and having clear trade-offs socially, economically, comes into play,
For sure, yeah.
right? If
Yeah.
if you were to run this space,
Teka, I'd introduce another angle to
Sure.
it that I normally even do not get to talk about.
sure,
Sure, the public planning, there's so much that depends on your local governance
yeah,
or your national government.
yeah,
But for ordinary people, I'm just looking at it from the angle of my dad, who have titled lands and are landowners. There's actually so much that you can do, diba? When it comes to determining which portion of your property is even dedicated to biodiversity and which one is not. So I'm just saying, yes, there's a lot of things that government needs to get right. But even as ordinary people and landowners of our own plots of land,
yeah.
diba? There's also so much that you can do to support protected
I
areas.
think maganda yon na as an individual property or landowner, 'di ba? Just being a bit more aware in terms of the potential or the role of a certain property uh, has or can potentially have sa isang area, um, can actually have an impact already.
For sure, diba? So, let's say, mm, kahit less than 500 square meters yung property mo, if you allocate a portion of that for native species, then you already create a safe haven to an extent, diba? For birds or for other kinds of biodiversity right on your backyard.
Yeah.
If you have bigger properties,
Sure.
then there's even more that you can do. And yes, when you're talking about real estate developers, then yes, there's so much also that they can do.
If you were to run the or develop the framework that is to be implemented in terms of land use, how exactly would you design this, and how would you create a scorecard across the different priorities to make sure that each land is used how it should be used?
Ang daming aspects na pwedeng pag-usapan. But what I always tell people is, and it's not just when it comes to land use planning, but all forms of development, diba? The heart of it, you need to start with the conservation angle, right? So, ano ba yung pinoprotektahan mo? Ano ba yung lugar na ginagalawan mo? Maintindihan mo yung takbo ng tubig, yung takbo ng buhay, ano yung mga uri ng buhay na kasama mo sa lugar na yan, kilalanin mo. Diba? Because only at that point will you understand ano ba yung kailangan mong i-sustain to start. Otherwise, you're talking about sustainability in very vague terms. Diba? Just following the theory around plastics or the theory around this. But potentially, you're not addressing or conserving what it is in your locality that needs to be protected or conserved.
Do you
So
think
you'd want to start with that, no?
okay.
Meron pang idea, by the way, on land use plans that maybe it should first be evaluated at the watershed level. Diba? Kasi yan dapat yung mag-govern. Ano ba yung mga pwede mong i-develop? Ano yung mga waterways na kailangang protektahan, etc. And it is a conflict now. Kapag, let's say, ang nangyayari sa Upper Marikina, the Rizal province decides na, oh, it's okay to mine or quarry these mountains. Tapos magugulat si Marikina at saka si Quezon City, ay bakit ang lakas na ng baha? Diba? It's also because it becomes disjoint when at heart and at base, dapat integrated yung pagplano for the entire basin.
Parang ano yan, parang kumbaga what you're saying is don't look at it at an isolated case or at an isolated area lens. Konektado lahat yan. Parang katawan ng tao yan, di ba?
Oo,
na
tama.
baka yung hinlalaki mo sa paa, okay lang na matapak-tapangan, pero may epekto na din pala siya sa ibang parte ng katawan mo, no?
Oo,
Parang
tama.
gano'n.
Oo.
Yung ah, yung sinabi mo na conservation and sustainable development, do you think there is always a trade-off between conservation and protection and, let's say, development in general?
Trade-off. Well, syempre meron, di ba? Pero to what extent is that trade-off acceptable and to what extent is it not? When is it acceptable, when is it not? Di ba? When is the impact tolerable, manageable, congruent, di ba? Versus kailan siya nakaka-create ng bigger damage altogether. Right? So, merong trade-off yan. Pero there is a way to balance it. First, by proper site selection, kung meron kang mga itatayo. Diba? Yeah, among other things. So, I'm just lucky kasi I grew up with my dad. Diba? So, I've always believed in engineering and development as a force for good. And I've seen it manifest. I've seen the results of that. So, no one can tell me na, no, it's one or the other. Diba? Kasi
There's a way.
there's a way to make it work. Yes, it requires you to be more site-specific, more creative in your approach, to slow down a little bit so you could spend a substantial amount of time to understand where you're moving. But if you do that, it will inform how you act in a certain place. And it could save you from a lot of trouble later on. Diba? So, yeah, and yung impact din sa wildlife, yung impact sa community, mas maintindihan mo. Diba? So,
I think you
Pwede,
mentioned a
pwede.
great point na site selection is key. I mean, of course, whether it's access to minerals that support economic growth or a certain industry, job, livelihood development, and access, or whether it's about access to energy or more sustainable energy. I think what you said na site selection is key, and also having creative ways to mitigate, if not avoid completely, any potential clashes with the other priorities in the area, like environment protection. Diyan mo
Oo.
talaga kailangan aralin eh, no?
Oo.
And
no?
with the ethos talaga that what you're after is long-term sustainable development, and it's not a purely economic decision.
There's a thing in conservation called carrying capacities. And the proper conservation plan will let you have an idea what the carrying capacity
What's a
of a
carrying
place
capacity?
is. Basically, to what extent a place can be developed o pwedeng puntahan ng gaano karaming tao
And
bago siya maapektuhan, 'di ba? Negatively.
and ano yung framework used in that space?
There are so many different ways to do it, but honestly, it doesn't take much to talk to an expert on who could come up with those numbers for you. No? So for example, in Masungi, it entails understanding the landscape that you're moving in, which is the karst ecosystem.
Ano yung karst ecosystem?
Limestone formations. No?
Okay.
So when you're talking about karst ecosystem, the main ano ba yun? The main bida dyan are the rock formations that were created underwater through millions of years. And leads to these parang limestone rocks that compose a wider karst landscape. So and yun yung Masungi, no? But that's composed of many different features, no? From underground drainage systems to sinkholes to surface karst elements, etc.
Parang yan yung mga makikita mo na limestone formation sa Palawan
Parang ganon.
na
oo.
pinipicture ng mga tao, love na love ng mga
Pero
tao.
may tubig sa may tubig sa Palawan.
Oo.
Yung Masungi, wala nang tubig. Grabe na yung water
okay.
scarcity. Anyway, let's go there another time.
Okay, so ganun siya. Kumbaga, parang ano siya, no? Yung kwento ng lupa or ng environment through millions of years, yan yung parang, paano ba, remnant or parang history book of that area. It's the karst formations.
Tama. So it's the landscape eh. So your landscape dictates anong uri ng mga buhay yung nandyan. 'Di ba? Anong takbo ng tubig? Ano yung mga mm, minerals, ano yung klase ng soil na matatagpuan sa lugar na yan. So it actually influences not just the animals that move there, but how people should be interacting with the land. So if you're going back, if we're talking about the limestone karst formation, then maraming mga iba't ibang factors to take note of before you arrive at your carrying capacity, which is like an equation, honestly, that I don't remember. No? But when you arrive at that, then that tells you ano bang klase ng mga developments yung pwede mong gawin dyan. Saan ka ba dyan sa lugar na yan pwedeng mag-develop to start?
And
Diba?
itong carrying capacity, have you done that assessment sa Masungi mismo?
Yeah,
And,
so
and,
that's been done in Masungi.
and how many percent more do you think yung carrying capacity ng Masungi or its surrounding area?
Well, on Masungi, we're working with 0.8 persons per hectare.
0.8 persons per
That's what the
hectare.
studies show. Pero we're allowing less people in actually. No?
So isang tao,
0.8.
less than one person. So
Less than
kumbaga,
1 point person.
medyo
Oo.
maliit na tao, pwede. Per
Yeah, so
hectare.
halimbawa, you're talking about this 30-hectare part, diba? The multi-use zone. Gaano karaming tao yung pwedeng gumalaw dyan? Diba? At any point in time. Kaya mapapansin mo sa Masungi.
24, parang ganun lang. Tama, oh.
Parang
For the
ganyan,
30,
diba? So
oh.
mapapansin mo sa Masungi, timed yung entry ng mga tao every 30 minutes. So they're also distributed through the larger
Yeah.
conservation site. No? And pre-booked sila, meaning hindi ka pwedeng basta-basta pumasok. And then at any point in time, we have good knowledge, accurate numbers on how many people are moving inside.
Ano yun? Para ma-calculate nyo or paano ba, ma-manage nyo
Simply
yung
put, para
impact ng
ma-disperse mo
tao.
yung impact.
Okay?
Oo. So if you go into mountaineering and hiking, di ba? Papansin ninyo, nag-hiking ka ba?
Oo.
Saan ka
Dati.
banda? Dati.
Oh, nagpulag na ako,
Oo.
nag-Mount Makulot na ako, Pico de Loro,
Diba?
ano pa ba yung mga pinuntahan ko?
So there's this
Arayat.
issue around mass
Oo.
tourism and these sensitive
Oo.
sites, di ba? Na pwedeng meron kang 1,000 tao in the same area at any point in time. And in the end, it creates a lot of waste. It compacts the soil. It hurts your waterways and generates too much trash to manage. Diba? So you don't
Wala
want
yun.
that to happen. So merong carrying capacity yung lugar. But yes, another aspect of that is yung visitor management capability. No?
Kumbaga,
Lahat yan need to be factored in.
So yung kasabihan pala na don't leave anything, just footsteps. Medyo may limit
May
din
limit
pala
na-
yung footsteps na
I
yun.
would argue na even the footsteps need to be at the right places.
Okay. Okay.
Footsteps at the right places.
Okay. Tama. At the right places, ayaw mo naman may matapakan ka
Depending on kung gaano kayo karami, that needs management. Hindi man yan
Tama.
manghulaan ng hikers eh.
Tama. Tama. Okay. Interesting. And siguro for those na nag-hike or nagte-trek, di ba? Ano ba exactly yung first na may impact pag hindi na manage yung carrying capacity? Usually. Baka iba-iba yan per
Sabay-sabay
area,
naman yan.
no?
Ang dami, sabay-sabay naman, ang daming pwedeng maging impact doon. But kung sundan mo yung visitor journey ng isang tao, if there's too many of you coming in, you might not realize it. Pero yung tunog nyo palang lahat na magkakasama, may epekto na yan sa wildlife population.
Sound pollution.
Yeah, sound pollution. So you might be entering zones that are meant to be strictly protected kasi dyan nagninest yung mga iba't ibang uri ng ibon. 'Di ba? Tapos 30 kayo sabay-sabay ang ingay ninyo.
Okay.
'Di ba? So what's going to happen? Aalis yung hayop.
Mm.
Saan lilipat yan? If you're in a place like Masungi, developments na yung nasa paligid, saan yan lilipat?
So pag nandun
Diba?
pala, dapat pag nag-uusap kayo, animal sounds. Woo! Woo!
You know, among biologists, hindi ka rin dapat nag-animal sounds eh. Baka
Ganun ba?
makadisrupt ka ng mating pattern. So akala nung ibon, ikaw yung partner niya. Anyway, may mga ganyan.
Interesting
I can be overly cautious of it. Are you familiar with these things? I can be overly cautious of it, pero just
Pag
for fun
maraming
sa ngayon.
ibon, huwag ka Huwag ka meow. Baka matakot sila, umalis sila doon, di ba? Dapat, ano. Okay, pero interesting ganun pala siya. And tama naman. I mean, end of the day, your presence or anyone's presence has an impact, di ba?
Yeah.
And whether good or bad or even neutral from a moral, di ba? May impact yan, sigurado.
Sure, everyone has an impact. So, syempre there's the visitor management side, iba pa yung development, di ba? Iba pa yung impact sa community, iba pa yung planning. For when you talk about Masungi, our framework goes through, all of these things. And we are part of this organization called The Long Run. It's literally a group of tourism organizations that work to protect their sites for the long run
Gets.
through tourism.
Ano
And
pa yung ibang...
Grabe yun. Parang yung monitoring namin on a yearly basis, 300 data points
Okay.
to ensure na you're doing care for the area sustainably.
And ano yung ibang parts pa ng Pilipinas na part of the long run or protected areas?
Man, marami tayong mga protected areas. It's throughout the country. I'd like to steer us to the fact na kapag tinanong mo yung UNESCO, kung saan sa Pilipinas yung pwedeng maging heritage site at maging geopark, no? Ibig sabihin landscapes of importance. The running joke that it should be the entire country.
Okay.
Ganon siya ka-unique, diba? Because we're an archipelago that rose from the depths of the sea. We're not connected to mainland Asia at all, except for Palawan for a point in time. So kung ano man yung mga varieties ng buhay na makita mo sa Luzon, a lot of it is very unique. A lot of it you wouldn't find any place else. Sa ngayon, data shows that 7 out of the 10 species you find in the country is unique to the country.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 is unique to the
Grabe.
country. Ang dami.
Okay.
Pero on the global scene of things, we're 1 of 17. So kung merong dapat pahalagahan yung mundo from a biodiversity angle, hindi lang disaster resilience, hindi lang climate, 'di ba? Vulnerabilities. The Philippines should be at the top of that list.
1 of 17. So, ano-ano pa yung iba for our appreciation?
Well,
Colombia,
Indonesia,
mga ganon.
a lot
Indonesia.
of groups in the global south. The Amazon countries are definitely a part of it.
South
as,
America.
South America. Small island nations who are also island groups. No? So, ibig sabihin, mas unique yung diversity of life nila. Yan yung makikita mo doon sa 17.
And siguro going back dun sa conversation natin kanina, I understand there's a lot of heritage, a lot of uniqueness in terms of biodiversity and environmental natural history, if we can call it that, across these areas. How do we balance it with the need for these countries who, as you mentioned, are in the global south when it comes to economic growth, 'di ba? Kasi of course, 'di ba? May marami ka din diyan maririnig na, these global policies or directions, may trade-off nga na up to what extent does protecting the biodiversity go versus,
And
let's
the
say,
ecosystems go.
and the ecosystems go versus providing more job opportunities and sources of livelihood for the people in that area, di ba?
Right.
When does the needs of that area supersede or justify overtaking the needs of the people in that community, di ba?
Well, in the first place, that's a big misconception, no? Because taking care of your life support ecosystems and biodiversity is taking care of your people.
Tama.
Ngayon,
Oo.
there's already a lot of studies in looking at the health implications of the destruction of nature. Now, outside of just the disaster resilience angle. Just because it really is an impact that's hardly measured but is there. No? So I think a big gap also in the Philippines is how we account for our natural resources. Just because hindi siya quantifiable in peso terms
Or long-term
or in
impact.
dollar terms doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's a benefit that's not there, 'di ba?
Or
So
dahil long-term siya,
Yeah.
tapos hindi mo siya may experience agad until may mangyari.
Yeah.
Parang okay lang nakalimutan muna.
Oo.
Parang ganon.
Siguro let's ground it a little bit para madaling maintindihan. If you go back to the Upper Marikina watershed, the siltation control capability of that area is equivalent to 10,500 dams. No? 10,500 dams. What's the cost?
Damn.
What's the opportunity? Oh, what's the cost of that? Building those dams.
Na naturally, nandyan na.
Then naturally, nandyan na. Konting tanim lang, alagaan mo, protektahan mo. And hindi lang naman disaster resilience yung contribution yan. Water security din, agricultural production din, air quality din. Ang dami pang iba. But yeah, sige, let's narrow it down to siltation control. Very specifically siltation control. Which
Sorry, ano
dams
yung
work on.
siltation control?
Yung pag di ba pag nasira yung gubat mo,
Oo.
yung soil mo nag-erode.
Correct.
So yung pag-control ng pagbaba ng silt into your waterways and to your river systems, you wanna be able to stop that. No?
Gets.
So kaya nagkakaroon ng siltation control activities yung Marikina, yung Pasig. On a yearly basis, they invest millions in that practice. No? Kasi yung lupa from your watershed areas, sa mga
Gets.
bundok kagaya ng Masungi, without the forest cover, gets washed down into your waterways, mas mabilis magbaha.
Gets. Parang, to your point, imbes na gumastos, repairing because of the effects of
Building,
the
repairing, maintaining.
building, repairing, maintaining, or repairing na lang, sabihin natin, yung sa city na because of the side effects of deforestation in areas. Yung budget dyan, kung nagamit na lang at the root cause,
At the root cause.
which is the,
Oo.
you know, the actual place itself, and mape-prevent mo, di ba?
Yeah. And magamit mo pa services sa mga tao.
Okay.
Diba? Instead, you're paying for the cost of the destruction that should have been factored in to start before it was even done.
Gets. Gets. I think maganda yung sinabi mo kasi to your point, yung quantification of the trade-offs need to be holistic. I think that's what you're saying. And sometimes because of the immediacy of the effects of certain areas of development, na forgo or na deprioritize yung magiging long-term impact ng that development in other areas like conservation, environmental conservation, which in the end also affects the people.
Tama. Oo.
And kasi end of the day we live in one space eh,
Yes.
diba? So
So remember the values that I was giving you, and there's a huge study on Upper Marikina on this, kung gusto mo pang basahin. And it's done by no less than the World Bank. When I'm in the World Economic Forum, ang mga kamiting ko, insurance companies, bankers, economists, etc. Because everyone recognizes na hindi lang to question for scientists. This isn't just greenies who want to take care of it. Very real yung impact, no, ng pagkasira ng mga gubat and ng life support ecosystems natin. So, just for anyone who still believes it's just as simple as conservation versus development. No? We're already, in 2026? It's already about how do you create that balance, diba?
Yeah,
When the impacts are very real and very well recognized,
Yeah.
even by economists, even by bankers.
and dyan papasok din, I remember I learned in my corporate job yung tinatawag na paradox thinking, which is seemingly contrasting priorities, but in the end it's not a matter of either or.
Correct.
It's a matter of new creative thinking to actually achieve both,
Tama.
to achieve your end purpose or goal.
Yeah.
diba?
So, to your question a while ago, okay ba yun, sabihin na natin, magpasok ka ng quarry company, will employ 20 people for the next 3 years. But the trade-off is, ganito karaming pababa. Ang laki ng damage nun. Diba?
And how sophisticated
It's not even worth it.
how sophisticated are the impact assessment or the measuring tools when it comes to, all these priorities? Or
Pretty
would you say
sophisticated
would you say
already.
medyo sophisticated
Oo.
siya?
Magaling na yung mga yan. And you don't even, honestly, dito rin nabibitan yung mga ibang tao eh. Diba? Na parang, let's do a full impact assessment first. And until we get to the very detail of things,
Walang gagalaw.
walang gagalaw. Oh, wala tayong mararating dyan. Diba? Because just by basic science, there are already things that are given when certain things happen. You don't even need very specific numbers for that, if I may argue. Kasi very clear na yung impact sa tao pagkatapos. You look at the Upper Marikina watershed. Maglalagay ka ng quarries, people will say it's easy for people to conclude na, paano naman yung livelihood ng mga tao? Diba? Well, let me tell you what, that community, tell them what they will lose when it comes to free water and health, diba? And yung security ng mga bahay nila would definitely rather not have that there.
Or is there not another way to also achieve that without
Yeah, correct. Without having to...
impacting these things,
Correct.
which will be in the long run detrimental to them as well?
Oo.
Yeah.
Kasi sila mismo magsasabi sa'yo na, no, that's not it. And yung pasahod mo sa akin ng 3-5 taon won't even
Offset
the
if something
cost
happens.
that will happen.
Yeah.
That's the cost that my family will apparently have to absorb.
And with AI
Diba?
now siguro, no, yung mga ganyan na impact assessment, parang mas madali na din siguro.
I haven't really looked at that. Pero you know, interesting. It should be. The AI could be used for good things. I mean, there's sustainability criticisms to it. But we should also use it for good.
Kasi, 'di ba, yung the formulas related to impact assessment easily with AI should lead to assuming na tama yung input data nun, no?
Correct.
Governing the frameworks that it will be using to come up with an output should help.
It will help. I don't want to go down the slippery slope that it's enough. Because when you're talking about a country as unique as the Philippines, you really need to be specific with your studies.
Tsaka
For example, sorry, go ahead.
Tsaka limited din pa siguro
Limited
yung
pa yung
input.
data set eh. Sobrang limited ng data set. If I ask AI now to identify a bird in the Philippines, it's not gonna identify it accurately. Diba? Just because ang limited na, ang unique and ang limited ng data sets. But this also brings me to what I always tell people. Now, when you understand what you're gifted with as a country, diba? We normally look at our cultural aspect. When it comes to the Filipino identity, we rarely look at ano ba yung landscape and ano ba yung natural heritage that shape us as a people.
Yeah.
Right? And you need to look at that so you understand what kinds of development you can pursue and should pursue. Otherwise, big disjoint. Right? Then you end up pursuing forms of development that apparently isn't good for the Philippines.
Or are not related to your core strength and differentiator.
Correct,
Even
correct.
from a, let's
Parang
say...
sports angle.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No,
I
for
always
sure.
put basketball versus football given the morphology of Filipino.
Yeah, tama. I think yung kumbaga, kung alam
Sorry,
mong...
bros.
Kung alam mong average height ng Pilipino, 5'6". Di ba?
Saan ka mag-i-invest? Sa basketball o sa ano?
Di ba? So basketball ba? O weightlifting na lang? Or
Kung gusto mong
boxing na
maging
lang?
globally recognized and competitive.
Tama.
Diba?
Yeah. So I think good point. Well, we'll take a quick break and then let's resume and talk about more maybe the biodiversity in Masungi.
Sige.
Alright.
All right, and we're back. When I was researching about Masungi, I saw a lot of news about new flora and fauna na very specific to Masungi. What are the latest news in that space?
Yeah. Well, first, mga 800 documented species na yata yun nasa Masungi ngayon. So, nakakatuwa.
800?
800, yeah.
Na Masungi specific, is that correct?
Mas they are found in Masungi, but they may not be found just in Masungi.
Okay,
It could
okay.
also be present elsewhere.
But that's just the biodiversity of it.
yeah,
800
ganda na,
species.
diba?
Yeah.
When I first went to Masungi, parang kambing lang yung kalaro ko dun.
Oh.
Oh, so medyo far
Ngayon?
cry na. Ngayon, 800 na yung kalaro ko dun.
800 kambing na.
Hindi, wala nang kambing.
Wala na kambing.
800 wildlife species na. Anyway, what you were saying, siguro yung pinaka huli na na-discover or nahanap would be a species of plant that's called Hexacum loheri. So, si Hexacum loheri nakakatuwa because it's a mycoheterotrophic, sorry, mamaya na yung explanation of flower that's been gone from science for 130 years. So, hindi
Wow.
siya nakita for 130 years.
Ano siya? Exactlo
Exacum.
loheri.
Parang ano parang
hirap
Harry
sa Pilipinas
Potter,
kasi
parang
wala-
Harry Potter spell yan ah.
Exacum loheri.
Oo.
Kasi ang dami nating forms of life, diba? Pero wala
Oo.
silang common names. Sa dami nila. Parang scientific name
Ano
lang
yung
yung tawag.
layman's name niya? Meron na ba?
Wala eh. Yun lang talaga eh.
Ayun yung
Exacum
ipangalan
loheri.
sa masungi or something.
Yeah, we're doing that with some species. Maraming masungiensis
Mm,
na species name na lalabas. No?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, nakakatawa.
But what's so special about this flower?
So si Exacum loheri hasn't been seen for 130 years, but it's a mycoheterotrophic plant. So pag sinabing mycoheterotrophic, ibig sabihin yan, hindi siya kumukuha ng sustansya from your usual sources. So kung yung typical plant mo, sunlight, soil, di ba? Diyan sila kumukuha ng sustansya, kaya sila nabubuhay. Si Exacum loheri ay nakadepende sa mycelial network.
Mycelial network.
So nakadepende
Ano yan?
siya sa fungus, sa ilalim ng lupa, na magbibigay ng sustansya sa kanya. So it is connected through the fungal network to different plants around it. And kapag merong extra sustansya, in simple terms, kung merong extra nutrients, yung mga puno na to at yung fungal network na to give to him, then that's when it lives and that's when it blooms.
Galing.
So it's a small purple flower, nakakatuwa. Pero ganun siya dependent on the health of its surrounding ecosystem. Kung walang extra na ibibigay, wala yung mga halaman doon, wala yung health ng fungal network, hindi siya mabubuhay.
And you mentioned the last time this was seen was 130 years ago.
Yeah, tagal
So,
na.
ano yun? Parang, kasi di ba sa Darwinism, di ba, yung parang evolution, di ba, yan ang sinasabi nila na nag-evolve yung mga species to make them survive according to the different environments they're in. The fact na nawala siya for 130 years and then kakabalik lang niya, ano ba to? Parang, was it always there or did it just sprout again? Is it a new, well, it's not a new thing kasi 130 years ago it was there. Ano ba kwento ng mga ganyan na species na nagre-research out of nowhere? Meron bang science? Familiar ka ba sa science?
The science
industry?
behind it?
Oo.
Well, hindi ko alam specifically for that patch, no? Pero kung titignan mo kasi yung Masungi area, to an extent, it's a testament to the success of the regeneration happening there. No? That it's been sufficiently regenerated to the extent that species like this can already live. Kasi without that diversity and without the health of that fungal network, wala siya doon, 'di ba? Pero I guess, yeah, it's a testament to the power of nature to come back, 'di ba?
Oh, that's true.
Na you might think it's unable to anymore,
Yeah.
pero you give it chance, you give it space, then it's able to. Now, as for that particular patch, I'm not sure how exactly, anong naging diskusyon nila doon sa ilalim, anong nangyari pagdating sa pagtatagpi ng mga chances.
Tsaka if
for
it's
it
a
to help you
fungus
out.
or a fungal network that is sustaining it, I guess talagang proof yan of healthy biodiversity kasi it's hinged on something that hinges on something else.
Correct. Oo.
No?
So kung titignan mo itong bulaklak na to, natuwa ka, you wanna transplant it, ilipat mo sa ibang lugar, you can't do that. Kailangan kunin mo yung fungal network, yung mga halaman sa paligid, saan doon yung kukunin mo, hindi mo rin alam.
Okay.
In other words, you destroy the habitat. It will be difficult for it to be found elsewhere, no? And to recreate the circumstances that allowed it to flourish.
And then ano yung process of determining if it's a new species or if it's actually a creature that's worth taking note of. Kasi for example, kung ako nasa beach or nga rin nagsiswimming ako sa beach or nagma-mountaineering ako, ang dami kong nakikitang mga kakaibang hayop, halaman, pero di ko pinapansin. Di ba? Parang I just expect na it's always been there. Ano ba yung proseso na parang malalaman mo na it's a special creature that you're seeing?
Well, you need to ask the experts, diba? So
Okay.
it's the scientists that you need to consult when it comes to that. Pero hindi naman ibig sabihin na dahil wala ka lang kakilalang scientist, hindi mo na malalaman. the internet is there. Even AI is
Sabagay.
there to give you some bit of knowledge, diba? So, you just need to, sorry, but you just need to search it up.
Picturean ko. Tapos,
Picturean mo,
is this a new species I
they're
can name
apps,
after
no?
myself?
Their app, so iNaturalist is a good app that's supported by the
iNaturalist.
National Geographic and Nature Conservancy.
Okay.
There are multiple other apps that are also being developed for that purpose. Merong mga specific sa ibon, may mga specific sa halaman, merong mas all-encompassing. Wala pa actually na Philippines focused as far as I know. Or at least wala pang nag-reach enough scale, no? Ng good scale for that. But, paano mo, ang nagdetermine if that's unique, that's new, would definitely be the scientists specializing there. They have their databases from the IUCN, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. So if it's logged there, then it's an existing one. If it's not, then it's a new one. Ngayon, how do you say it's a new species? Well, there are several things that you need to do, diba? Kailangan mong pag-alalan, you need a certain sample size to exist para masabi na, it's sufficient information around, there's sufficient information around its morphology, etc. But I wouldn't be the expert of that.
Okay.
Good to bring on a scientist for it.
Ako, expert ako mag-identify ng flowers eh.
Mo?
Oo. Padalan mo ako ng picture, masasabi ko kung flower yan o hindi.
Kung flower o hindi.
Oo. Hindi, joke yun ah. Pero mukhang
Kala ko gagawin na natin ngayon eh. Mag-display ako ng picture.
sasabihin ko, flower yan. Hindi, ano lang yun.
Jake, corny!
Corny ba?
Joke lang.
Diba? May nakita kasi yung meme na gano'n eh. Yung parang, I'm a bird expert. Tapos yung meme,
Is this a bird?
Yes, that's definitely a bird.
Gets ko na yung tito mo.
Tito,
nga siya.
sorry, Tito
Jolo.
humor. Oo. So, apart from the flower, purple flower called, maybe for one last time, what's it called?
Hexacum loheri.
Hexacum loheri. And what about fauna? Meron ka bang mga interesting discoveries doon?
Doon tayo sa snails. So,
Pwede.
Masungi has 47 kinds of snails
Okay.
documented inside the landscape. Yun yung pinakamataas
Snails.
snails na biodiversity documented in the landscape so far in the country. So, mataas yun. Merong isang particular subspecies na sa masungi mo lang matatagpuan. And it's called, masungiensis.
Okay.
Masungiensis na yung tawag sa kanya. So, ano siya? It's a kind of a snail na matatagpuan mo, particularly on the rock formations. And without the rocks, it's not going to survive.
And what exactly do these snails do, or how do these snails contribute to the whole ecosystem?
Well, normally, ano sila, diba? Parang, how do you say it in simple terms? When it comes to the nutrient cycling, there's a lot of contribution when it comes to that. Pagdating sa mga little critters that normally we don't pay attention to. So from snails to earthworms and all of these decomposers, diba? That work on, say, yung mga halaman and then bring them back, process it, and then bring it back as healthy soil no, for use later on. So merong mga basic contributions ng biodiversity such as that. Si Masungiensis, I don't think we've studied it enough to know what exactly. But snails in general would have or perform that particular function.
Okay.
And then it's interesting because some people see it on that level, pero on a more intimate level, diba? They're actually sources of calcium for a lot of different species inside when you follow the food chain. Ako, masyado na tayong technical. But, halimbawa, if you're in Masungi, you'd observe na yung mga snails sa paligid. Magugulat ka, it's played with or eaten by birds. Kasi that's where they get their calcium, apparently. No?
Gets.
For some odd reason, they know that they will get their calcium from that little snail. So, they're, I guess,
Parang
yung
circle of
our
life
animals,
na yan
circle
eh,
of
no?
life,
Oh,
yeah.
pati
Parang components of our ecosystem
chain.
interact, more than we think they do.
yeah.
And by being intimate with the landscape, dami mo actually matututunan. Right? So an example, should I talk about it already? An example recently na na-observe namin is the impact of extreme heat and extreme weather conditions also on biodiversity. Because over the weekend, we documented a monkey opening one of our faucets for water.
Okay.
Kasi ganun
Kas
walang
scarce.
tubig. Kasi scarce yung tubig. Literally drought conditions in some parts of Masungi. So, red alarm, ano na yun? Alarm na dapat
Yeah.
yun for all of us. I
Yeah.
mean, we know that we're close to water scarcity also. Diba? Pero the signs have been there from nature all along. Diba? And there needs to be something done about this now because water doesn't regenerate in a snap. We don't have the capability for that just yet. Diba? When it comes to bringing back your fresh water. Which is, by the way, what we all rely on. Not just salt water. No, yeah. The fresh water of the world is what, at 2%? The water that exists, that we see around. Diba? Just at 2%. So it's actually a scarce resource. So yung mga, grabe yun for us. Kasi parang, one, nakakatuwa tignan. Diba? Pero what does it say? Yun nga, wala na siyang mahanap na tubig to the point that he would risk coming close to humans just to get water. Diba? So, I think that's an element rin na hindi natin nakikita. Paano yung epekto ng ginagawa natin sa mga hayop.
Or
Diba?
pwede din naglalakad lang siya doon tapos na nakita niya.
Doubt it. It's a new, for the amount of times that we've been running this, it's only in the last 2 years. Ayun, but among other things, ganun din what we've seen with bees. Rainy season, syempre we see the floods. The other pressure on our team is nakikita namin na yung mga nests fall. So ang daming mga young birds na, namamatay o nauulila because of worsening. Right. I always say na the people who demonstrate the most empathy are the people in the conservation space kasi you don't care just for human life, diba? But you're looking at the impact of all of these things on all forms of life. So yeah, nawala na yata ako sa diskusyon.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's one of the attractions when it comes to Masungi. I at least from the pages I've seen and the videos I've seen online, there's really so much to appreciate and to learn when it comes to the different species that habitate in that area.
Yeah.
Diba? And it gives you a different light in terms of the world and how we affect it.
Yeah, so halimbawa, if you look at, again, we know about bees and the impact on agricultural production, diba? And bats. A lot of our fruits, may they be farmed or not farmed, actually rely on these pollinators.
Yeah.
Diba? So
Bats din ba? Pollinators?
Bats din, yeah.
Ah, talaga.
So when it comes to food production, sure, we quantify it to an extent. Pero by losing all of these kinds of biodiversity, meron ding impact on the pollination of plants and fruits and other plants that we rely on that we fail to account for.
Okay.
Diba? So the impact of the decline in biodiversity, ayan na naman, hindi na naman na-measure.
Yeah.
But should be
Yeah.
measured. So,
Saka, yan yung parang may ano no? Parang minsan ma-appreciate mo din talaga yung creation ni God na parang may intelligent design din talaga minsan na
Yeah.
doesn't even need human intervention. May mga purpose pala yung mga hayop o halaman or even certain design of things that we may not appreciate but actually serve a bigger purpose or underlying purpose in the bigger scheme of things.
correct. Oo. Siguro a good example of, another example of interdependence is, well, mas madaling intindihin sa ibon, diba? Since we do bird watching also in Masungi. Pag meron kang, daming example, sige, ibon. Pag meron kang punong na nag-grow, right? And it's of a sufficient size, your woodpecker comes around. creates a hole for it to nest in. As that tree grows, lumalaki rin actually yung mga hayop that live in that hole. Say, parrots. As it gets bigger, potentially for hornbills. Diba? And as it gets bigger, bigger kinds of birds. But that's developed through time. Through the number of years of that growth of a tree.
May eagle ba sa
Sa
Masugi?
meron na, pero where our forest isn't mature enough for Philippine eagles
May
yet.
parrots ba?
Meron. Oo.
Ah, may
May mga
parrots?
parrots.
Ah,
oo, that
talaga?
exist inside. May mga
Galing.
hornbills that are already inside. Not the big kinds yet, pero the smaller ones are already back. Diba? So imagine mo, when you cut a tree, again, hindi na naman tinitignan ng mga tao, yes, merong impact sa soil, may impact sa mga halaman sa paligid niya, sa water scarcity. Pero they also do not get to account for anong impact niyan when it comes to the habitat of these different kinds of species for the years to come.
Yeah, yeah.
Diba? And well, that hole in the tree will take how many years to be big enough for a certain species? And therefore, it will affect the presence of that animal in the years to come.
No, I
Diba?
think that's an excellent point, and frankly, something I'm learning to appreciate as we speak. It's that when we have an impact or we affect these ecosystems, sometimes we're not able to appreciate the full impact from a life cycle perspective. Parang ang nangyayari, yung immediate impact, yes, we are aware of, and sometimes we make the trade-offs based on, and the decisions based on the trade-offs which we see immediately, but we don't see yung long-term impact niya in terms of the potential.
Yeah.
It's the same argument, I guess, when it comes to investing in people, diba? Or even
Correct,
yung argument in life in general, diba? Na you don't just affect that person, you affect who that person can be, diba? And yung trajectory niya and the total impact of that person in the long run, diba? Parang
Yeah. May failure of diagnostic there, diba? And I think people generally have a difficult time. This is something that we've discussed with a few of my friends just recently. May failure on diagnosing the cost of inaction or the cost of omission, diba? So let's say you don't take action on the needs of biodiversity today, diba? Parang akala, okay, wala lang. Pero the cost of omission down the line will be huge, right? The cost of inaction now will be huge down the line.
I think I've read some studies or maybe some news articles about how environmental maybe priorities score relatively low to the average Filipino, and I think some UN studies show that environmental awareness also becomes more important as countries reach a certain GDP to person ratio. Kumbaga, pag yumayaman yung isang bansa, mas dun lang sila nag-care about the environment.
Not sure if that's a UN study, no? Because it's incomplete to say GDP. I'd say quality of life,
Okay.
which is more than just your GDP. Your small island nations understand that. You're not gonna be high in your GDP, but they're living good and they understand nature, diba? Technically, the Philippines is a small island nation with multiple islands, diba? So actually, dapat yung impact and yung understanding natin, ideally that's strong then because the risks to them are equally as strong for us and our islands, diba? Naintindihan mo ba yung point
No,
ko doon?
please elaborate further.
Yeah, so ano bang magandang example? So going to GDP, when we talk about gross domestic product,
Product, yeah.
normally that's our gauge for how a country is progressing, diba? Or if it's getting richer. Pero on the field, you can tell that it's an incomplete picture. So say for instance in Masungi, when destructive activity comes in the nearby communities, it may seem like tumataas yung GDP, But what's actually happening on the ground is yung dating libreng tubig, kailangan na nilang bayaran. 'Di ba? Yung dating hindi nila kailangang gawing sobrang konkretong mga bahay and structures, kailangan na nilang pagtibayan because of the flood or the pagguho ng lupa that they will have to anticipate. So it gives you a false picture of growth. Dati, you have all of these resources that your community can access for free and arguably should ideally be accessible for everyone or present for everyone. Pero now they have to pay for already. Right? So we go back to basic needs of life, right? And supposedly basic rights of people to have.
And that's where you're coming from when you say na not necessarily GDP per capita, but quality of life in general.
Yeah, so it's a lot of things. Health
Okay.
of people, diba? All of these education, all of these things that you can't easily correlate with just your GDP measures. So if you look at small island nations, the Maldives, diba? Papua New Guinea, kung ano-ano pang mga iba't ibang small island nations. Because it is understandably smaller, it's easier for them to understand how their lives correlate with their ecosystem.
Okay.
Diba? So, yes, they could, if they just prioritize GDP, allow their island to be mined, the entire island to be mined, tataas GDP nila. But the cost for them would be their water security, right? The presence of potable water for them to drink for the years to come. And because, well, the understanding is, ito lang naman yung bahay ko, ito lang naman yung nation ko, that naturally, they will decide against that. Diba?
Okay.
And they're happy. The quality of life is good. They get education, they have good water, GDP might not be high, limited yung mga industries that you entertain, but that's worth it for the long-term sustainability of the island.
And the
Diba? Versus just getting rid of it and then, okay, saan tayo lahat lipat afterwards?
And the end goal, which is human development, is achieved
Yeah.
with or without, these maybe activities that shoot up the GDP. I think that's what you're trying to say. And going back to our earlier conversation, again, it's a matter of balance and really understanding how to go about achieving these different goals,
Yeah,
considering what really is the baseline and how everything will be affected with any direction that we take.
Yeah. So we're jumping topics, but before I forget, nandito kasi si Mark a while ago, diba?
Yeah, yeah.
Who's doing the adhesives and sealants with Pili, right? Those are the kinds of industries that as a country we should be exploring, right? Kasi yung biodiversity mo, biruin mo 7 out of 10. Hindi mo makikita elsewhere. Imagine how much of our plants, other than Pili, which is so widely explored, have the same capacity for industrial use.
Yeah.
If only you invest in your scientists and your engineers and technologists. No? So, sayang. Kasi
The potential is there.
nandun yung potential natin eh. And Mark is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. And
Right.
refresh me. 7 out of 10 of the biodiversity
Yeah.
is just can be found only in the Philippines, tama ba?
Oo. So, kaya nga kanina when we were talking, Mark, sabi ko, wow, you got Pili. Pili you'll only find in the Philippines. Yung
I think-
barrier to entry mo, ang taas ah.
Yeah. He
Diba?
did say na I think meron pa sa ibang bansa, like I think Indonesia and other countries, but he did say na iba din yung Philippine specific na species kasi
sure.
to your point on the story of a certain environment, syempre iba-iba na yung how the chemicals and the history and the events that happened in that place affected the actual product or byproduct of certain things.
Yeah.
So
Parang yung manggalang ng Pilipinas. I mean, well, yeah, different species, pwedeng same, pero because yung terroir mo is different, then
That's
iba rin
right.
yung lasa.
lasa.
Iba
Tama.
rin yung characteristics niya.
Tama. Yung yeah. I have a question to ask, and feel free to answer it the way you see it fit. Yeah, but managing this ecotourism site, this conservation site, Was there ever a time when you felt unsafe?
But yeah, definitely. So ito yung masaya isipin yung opportunities, masaya yung ecotourism. You ask the whole team, that's therapy for us, no, as far as we're concerned. But the heavy lifting and the heavy work is definitely on protecting the landscape. So when we say protecting the landscape, you talk about industries such as illegal land grabbing syndicates, mga ganyan, that
Sindikato,
typically go under the radar. Yeah, sindikato sa lupa, yung mga maharlika, mga ganyan. No? Armed people who occupy land for development. Mga illegal quarries, diba? Mga resort owners and businessmen na nagpapanggap na magsasaka pero hindi naman pala. Bigger developments such as wind energy projects in in these sensitive ecosystems that haven't followed the right processes. So maraming mga threats, no? And that leads to physical risks for us in the field. And to an extent, yeah, legal and political risks because of course these are people who have entrenched backers most of the time. So has there ever been a time that I've felt unsafe? I think in general we've learned to live with the idea that just generally is. So in the Philippines, it's, I don't know how many people know it already. Sana more naman, but it's really the deadliest place for environment defenders in Asia. No? So ang mga kapantay natin are the countries in South America, people, groups that are protecting the Amazons. But in the Philippines, we've been leading the way at deaths for more than a decade now, no, for the Asia Pacific area. So grabe. And from my perspective, kailangan talaga ng urgent intervention when it comes to that. Kasi pag-uusap pa lang natin, 'di ba? You learn a lot because of what I get to witness on the ground. They're better witnesses to that. Indigenous people are better witnesses than me when it comes to these things. The indigenous wisdom and knowledge that they have so much more than my very tiny encyclopedia of knowledge that other people may not know. 'Di ba? And imagine that they carry that much knowledge through thousands of years of human evolution with nature. And just because it's not written down, it's discounted as human knowledge that isn't worth paying attention to. Diba? When we should be building on that. No? So, ang laking risk na yung mga environment defenders mo, your frontliners, your community members, such as indigenous people, your forest rangers, are at risk. Because they're your best source of knowledge, but they're also the ones who are stopping all of these illegal activities from happening. A lot of people talk about reforestation. The complete picture is protect what's already there and restore. If you can't protect it, and then tanim ka ng puno, you'll just net negative anyway. Kasi everything will just disappear later on. And then it doesn't make sense. It's just a marketing stint.
Yeah. I think you raised a good point about just being genuine and authentic in terms of what you're trying to achieve and how you actually plan to achieve it. Tree planting activities, diba? I mean, it doesn't really need to get there if you're actually at the onset protecting something.
Yeah.
Ang
Ang hirap ng protection part.
And yung sa forest rangers and you sharing na parang diba, Philippines being one of the deadliest places for environmental protectors or in that case forest rangers talaga, no? Ano ba, how exactly does one become a forest ranger? Meron bang certification dyan? Can anyone become a forest ranger? And ano ba talaga yung trabaho nila and what it is exactly they do? Kasi yung forest ranger lang, at least, I mean, you hear it, diba? You see it in the cartoons, in the media, what they do. In the Philippine context, what does a forest ranger really do?
Well, a forest ranger, at least in terms of masungi practices and international requirements, diba, would be protecting nature. May that be mga landscapes, mga halaman, or even animals. And then doing the maintenance work, sometimes the education complement to be able to do the protection effort.
How many forest rangers do you have in
We'd
Masugid?
all have 70 to 100 full-time rangers at a time.
100
So,
people protecting, what's that?
2,700
2,700 hectares.
hectares. So that's actually a really good ratio.
Okay.
Because that gives you 1 to 27, diba? The ratio in the Philippines, that's why it doesn't work, is it's 1 to 4,000. One ranger protecting 4,000 hectares of land. If you know the scale of 5 hectares, ang hirap na i-monitor nun just for one person. And you're asking one ranger to be your boots on the ground for 4,000 hectares of land.
Pero trained ba sila like self-defense or trained ba sila sa even, practical shooting or
Honestly, in sa Masungi, we don't have it to the level of shooting.
okay.
Medyo counterintuitive pa nga sa Masungi because we have the layer of, syempre, the military, the insurgency, and all of that. We don't want to get caught in that crossfire. So
Gets.
counterintuitively, we'd rather just be carrying our scissors, reporting to authorities, reporting to the public if we need
Baka
support.
mapagkamalan
Baka
pa.
mapagkamalan pa, maging excuse pa.
Correct.
Ang dami namin kinakalaban to attack us. Diba? So that's our unique circumstances. Would be different for those in Mindanao, I'm just flagging it out there. Iba-iba tayo ng circumstances. But for us, that's where we are at. For forest rangers ng
May certification ba
DNR.
yun? May test the certification ba yun?
wala
Forest
maganda
ranger?
nga sanang meron
Oo.
No, so just like the National Park Services in other countries. I don't know merong module ang DNR for the people that they take as Bantay Gubat. We also have our own module. So it's definitely a combination of a lot of skill sets that you need to have when you are a forest ranger.
Okay.
In Masungi, interestingly, we also have honorary rangers.
Okay.
Kasi other than the physical protection, there's also the social protection of the initiative. Diba? So these are our watchdogs, people who lend their voice and lend their presence kapag threatened na yung advocacy, more than the physical protection of the place. So, kanya-kanyang structures for solutions.
Yeah. And what is the biggest challenge that these rangers or protectors face?
Biggest protectors. So, biggest challenge is in the Philippines, even job security is a problem. A lot of people are on contractual basis. Diba? Tapos you're risking your life na nga at the front lines. Hindi pa assured yung yung position mo. Right? So, ang hirap nun. Diba? For us, if you're a forest ranger, medyo vocational nga siya eh. Diba? Why would you even stay in a forest na walang kuryente, walang signal, nakapaligid sa'yo mga detractors at saka mga illegal groups? It's hard to do that. There's so many safer...
Passion and love talaga for what you do.
Oo, exactly. That's why it's really
It's a vocation. Yeah.
Diba? So when our rangers were shot, two of our rangers were shot in 2021. Grabe yung moment na yun for the team. Kasi muntik na silang mamatay eh. So iba yung hit nun sa akin. Diba? We're lucky that they live. Maybe God loves us not that much. Pero sa ulo sila tinamaan ng mga land grabbers na who fired at them. And they were back 5 days, 1 week after, because everyone understands that tayo yung magtutulungan dito. Diba? Even when they were brought out of the ranger stations, there were people who immediately and automatically took their post even at 2 o'clock in the morning. Just because we know na, baka part ng isang bigger plan to occupy the area.
And I read in your page, do you want some water or you're good? Coffee? No.
Maybe water would be nice now.
Yeah.
Ayoko na ng coffee, mga nanginginig na ako.
No, I remember reading in your page na this whole business model of ecotourism is able to sustain these protection efforts, right? So maybe care to talk more a bit about that and how can the general public support you guys in that sense?
Yes. Before we get there, tingin ko hindi ko nasagot yung tanong mo. Pero yung biggest risk for us frontliners and forest defenders, The biggest risk,
Offline ba to? O,
pwede naman to. The biggest risk, to be honest, is when there's regulatory capture and politicians protect illegal actors. That's always the biggest risk. Because instead of it being manageable,
vested interests, conflict
vested
of
interests
interest.
get in the way, and then they attack us alongside us trying to, protect these lands, which everyone should be doing together anyway. So that's when it gets really complicated and burdensome. So yeah, corruption affects everything, including the environment movement. Pero to your question on ecotourism, ano nga ulit yung tanong mo? How
In
can
terms of how Masungi Reserve as an ecotourism sustainable model is able to support these rangers among other initiatives that you guys do, and what can the general public do to support these types of projects?
please come and visit. The visit is important to us, not just for visibility. So, when you're talking about illegal actors, it matters to them kung may gumagalaw o wala. Then it makes it riskier for them to move through a place. Masungi is open. A lot of people think that we closed down. We didn't. It's open. So please come and support. That's how we get to finance the work that we're doing. No? We also always invite people to just lend whatever specific skill or expertise or network it is that they have to the advocacy. I told you this a while ago, I came from a management background. I didn't come from a science background. And everyone just really has a role to play when it comes to protecting our ecosystems. Right? Pero if we are to simplify, ano yung siguro yung role na ipi-play mo in creating change, no? You could be an orchestrator. You can be an agitator. We need agitators because it's difficult for frontliners to cause the agitation. Becomes a physical risk for them. Or you could be an innovator when it comes to processes or just saving our forests. So saan ka pwedeng pumasok doon? And how can your specific expertise or skill set contribute to protecting our forests and sustaining, our ecosystems, diba? Yeah, siguro that's the bigger question. The easy, low-hanging fruit, because we bump heads with so many people, is, yeah, please follow us online and then help us amplify, our issues to the right audiences or even just in general.
I think there's an agreement, at least based on my research, with the DENR or with the government in terms of Masungi's tenure and term overlooking after the protected area at the moment. Care to share a bit more about that in terms of until when is it, and maybe some things you're sorting out at the moment, which are a lot, I'm sure, and how that can impact the area in general.
Yeah. So where we are at now, this really comes from causing the cancellation of the quarries, which are about 1,300 hectares in scope. So that's a big success for everyone.
Out
not
of
just
the
Masungi.
2,700.
In large part, as a part of the 2,700 hectares.
So-
The discovery of these quarries, which wasn't even made public, and the cancellation of these agreements, which normally doesn't even happen because one, people do not know about them, or there was no strong enough pressure to cause the cancellation. Panay TRO lang, which gets lifted later on.
So that's a big win.
It's a big win. But now we're dealing with the ramifications of that, which is basically because of some level of regulatory capture. Lahat ng attempts to get our agreements canceled or removed from the area, that will cause the area not to get protected anymore. Diba? So that's what we're contending with now, in parallel to, of course, the continuous watchdog function and getting all of these illegal interests out that compete with conservation and protection interests.
How did you get the quarrying piece or the quarrying contracts or illegal activities?
That's with the help of everyone. To be honest, no, 8 mayors downstream supported that movement. We were working with 60 plus NGOs and environment organizations to bring attention to it. The media did its job when it comes to making sure it's at the headlines and not the front pages. When it comes to petitions, the local youth of Rizal, more than 2,500 youth signatories around it. And through the country, more than, I think, 25,000 or 30,000. So it was to the extent that it was hard to ignore for people in governance, that it was cancelled. Now, it's not yet done, to be honest, because nag-file sila ng motion for reconsideration. And I think that wasn't reported for a bit of time. But now we know that they filed one and it hasn't been denied. No? Nauna pang i-deny yung motion for reconsideration namin to consider, the, dare I say, illegal cancellation of one of our agreements. No? So, going back to that, that is the threat. Our agreements are all being threatened because of defending the watershed. And not just the reforestation agreement at that, but even our core area agreements.
The current agreements which you are operating in, it's until when?
So the reforestation site agreement is an interim agreement. So it hasn't been indicated there how long yet, because it's supposed to be finalized to incorporate those elements. What's normally thrown at us is because that agreement says that the goal is the perpetual conservation of the landscape. They're saying that we're gunning for perpetual ownership of the reforestation site. Which I tell you is none of my interest because it's such a huge responsibility over public land to start. But yun
And it
yung-
shouldn't be even a private entity leading that space. Parang dapat publicly, di ba? Parang spearheading the...
Siyempre, it
if
should
it
be
is
under
our protection.
DNR, no?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it should be. It's
Yeah, yeah.
definitely led by the Department of Environment and Government, diba?
Mm.
But dare I say that you really need non-government actors empowered to do area-based conservation. No? So, for example, Masungi is not a government group that's doing the groundwork, diba? We're a non-government organization doing the groundwork, right? But it works because we're able to find financing mechanisms for it. We're able to pursue it without political interferences to a certain level. That we're able to protect the site from all of these kinds of interferences that usually endanger the long-term sustainability of a project. No? So I think that's actually something that needs to be paid attention to. Kasi if you look at the interest of the Filipino people in protecting our landscape, it's high eh. It's actually high. I don't know what studies you've managed to look at.
Baka
to look at.
global lang naman yun.
But yeah, but it's actually pretty high. Mas ready pa yung civil society mo and private sector mo to take action than your government. May it be because it's so bureaucratic, they need another law to get things running or done. Or other factors like corruption, di ba? Or competing interests when it comes to land use. What you're seeing today is that your civil society groups actually understand the need for conservation, diba? At least for Upper Marikina, meron. So those groups need to be empowered to do just that. Of course, the monitoring components need to be there. The checks and balances need to be there. But I think we're missing on a significant opportunity by not enabling that. When it's also the reason why certain countries in Latin America and in Africa have been able to protect larger tracts of land. No? So let's say Africa, I think more than half, or is it just South Africa? More than half of their reservations are managed privately. So merong mga ano dyan, syempre
May
merong mga
benefits
criticisms,
din.
pero ang laki ng benefit that the
Yeah.
baseline work is shared and responsibility is shared.
Yeah.
Diba?
I guess it's the same way, same framework as, public-private partnerships or maybe even privatization of certain utilities or services. If a private entity can do it better and achieve the goals that, a certain program was really meant to achieve, then
Yeah.
why not, right?
Why not? Pero again, syempre may watch-outs, diba? Kasi Masungi's model, I think, was okay with Gina because we had a 20-year track record before we even moved on public land. And we have results to show. We are not a group that suddenly put up an NGO and then said na, okay, we'll enter here as a ghost project holder that later on will apply for titling of the place. Diba? Kasi yan yung modus na nangyayari sa gubat natin eh. That's what we're seeing when it comes to quarry operators. Senator Escudero talked about this. Meron silang mining agreement, They will apply for patents, etc. Para later on, they could turn it into a subdivision and land to sell when those 25 years aren't even supposed to be seen in that way. Diba? That's an issue now, right? So my point is, it's also prone to abuse if you're not doing it with the right actors. Diba? And when you're talking about the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, dami ring tao dyan with the best intentions and the good intentions. Pero if you look at how it is structurally, the risks are the fact that it really comes from utilization more than conservation, and that culture is still dominant in some aspects of the institution. You have your Parks and Biodiversity Bureau. Well, you ask them yourself, but normally before, it's not the priority. It's not centered on what they have to say. Diba?
And maybe, I think, clear on the challenges that we're currently experiencing, and at the same time, the beauty and the potential of the place. Maybe if someone was blindfolded and was dropped at the center of Masungi, just for people to be able to appreciate and envision what it is, and hopefully, whet their appetite to actually visit. What would they see right now?
What would they see in Masungi? Well, it's a lush forest now, unlike a barren one from before. You have different kinds of animals already that you see inside. The landscapes are pretty, how do I put it, awe-inspiring, diba? But I think a lot of people, what they love seeing inside Masungi is precisely the thoughtful interaction of the landscape and the people who are taking care of it. So when I have people go on the trail, that's normally something they note to me afterwards. I didn't realize it could be that thoughtful. Diba? Na parang inikutan yung puno na to because we know that we can't take down that tree. O na merong handle dito because we know that people are going to be tired at that point. Na merong bridge dyan because you don't want the sinkholes to be interacted with. Right? So it's more on top of the fact that it's a beautiful landscape. It's also a demonstration of how people can interact with the world that it belongs to. Diba? With the land that it belongs to.
Yeah,
They belong to.
I think I get to appreciate that now, and I will visit soon. It's essentially a manifestation of the theory we were just talking about earlier in this conversation, where trade-offs don't necessarily need to happen, and coexisting and finding creative ways to achieve the goal or the objectives with respect to nature or the current environment is possible. And maybe we got to wrap this up, but if Masungi was a person and it had a message to tell the Filipinos, what would it be?
Before I get to answering that, maybe it will help me think. What I need people to understand is nature doesn't have a voice, right? It does so much for us. It doesn't have a voice. So it's really up to everyone who is a witness to it to do something about that and to give it a voice, right? Because ultimately, taking care of nature is taking care of ourselves. Honestly, nature will regenerate. It's a matter of if, we get to it, to what extent the people get hurt because of our neglect, right? So if nature has something to say, it's that, I'm doing my part and you should perhaps do yours. You're humans, you take pride in being able to think and discover and do things. Find the solutions, maybe redirect your time and attention to that instead of destruction. Diba? I go back to Jane Goodall, who studied primates and who's the reason also why we have a different understanding today of what it means to be human, right? As opposed to before where we say it's just tool making or use of tools, that's not what defines humans anymore. Diba? Even when it comes to being able to demonstrate empathy towards your kind, that's not even it anymore. Because arguably for me, considering what I've witnessed, but what makes humans unique would be its ability to look at what's happening all over and choose a different track, right? To do things differently and to find solutions.
There's an agentic
And to be able to
angle to it.
hold that complexity and
Yeah.
do something about it. If you are not doing that, then you're not harnessing your full potential as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
No? So do something about it. I'm sorry I'm a little snarky. Maybe I'm entering my period.
No,
Normally I'm
that's-
softer.
no, it's. I love the passion, and maybe to your point, when it comes to the nature can't speak or doesn't have a voice. I'd like to think it does, but it's like that person who's always quiet, pero pag napuno na, bigla na lang may pumuputok eh. Di ba? Or bigla na lang magsasnap.
Yeah.
I think nature's voice is something a bit more similar to that. Na tahimik lang siya, tapos bigla na lang puputok and makikita natin or maririnig natin yung voice niya in ways which maybe sometimes is a bit too late for us. And
Right.
hopefully, to your point on us being an agent and being able to do something about it before it even reaches that point, we actually figure out what we need to do and do that instead. Diba? So, yeah, well, is there any last message you want to share to the group?
Dami. Daming pwedeng message eh. But, yeah, pwede na siguro yun. Okay na siguro yun. Kanina we were talking a bit about policy and normally when I get to do interviews, it's because Masungi is endangered. But recently I've had a bit of a headspace and time to think. And some people have been asking me, anong mga next steps to help the environment sector in the Philippines, right? From a Masungi angle, like I said, if the DNR is currently your regulator, executor, and your, what's the other function? Regulator, executor,
Policymaker, maybe?
not policy eh. I mean, that's your legislature naman eh. Yeah, well, and enforcer. It's so difficult, right? In addition to, they were born as an extractive agency. If something was done wrongly before, they're expected na isiwalat yung kamalian ng colleague nila. Right? Which in itself is very difficult to do. Right? Kung merong kulang sa regulatory proceedings na ginawa nila for a particular industry or a particular group, they take it personally because sila rin yun eh. Pero you're asking them to enforce and to change that. Diba? So maybe there's value in widening the function or distributing those roles. Thoughts lang, no? Pero do we need a separate environment protection agency like what the other countries have? Should we have another climate change commissions for protected areas? Diba? Sure, it's within DENR. Would it be better for it to be outside DENR and prototyped under a higher authority or function? Diba? If right now your environmentalists are having a difficult time and environment frontliners are having a difficult time because they feel like they need to be the watchdog and it's creating tension with the environment agency, which they believe is supposed to be supporting them, then should there be a function that protects them, right? Maybe that's a good way to start when it comes to fixing all of these challenges. So there are just these thoughts. I don't have the answers,
Yeah.
but there are these learnings from Masungi that we have, diba? And just answering what will it take to protect Masungi.
And maybe to end on a good note, what gives you hope in this space?
What gives me hope? What gives me hope? I'm just trying, it's not that there's none, I'm just trying to pick which one. What gives me hope? Just, it might sound a little bit unbelievable sa ngayon, but really the power of people to come together to overcome a challenge, right? So, ang hirap for Masungi the last couple of years. Talagang the endurance and the resilience test, man, like it's not something you'd wish on anyone, right? But we got to go through that not just because of us, but because of everyone who pitched in and who support and who became a part of that story. May we be talking about local community members all the way to global actors like Leo DiCaprio, the and Sting, who decided to contribute their skills. No? So, in as much as ang galing ng force to destroy, and they really exert and do everything to make things happen. I'm not just talking about environmentalism, but in general, diba? Equally capable is the force for good. It just needs to be better organized. And that does give me hope. Because if anything, for all of the challenges that we face, I believe that I've been brought to the best people also. And that together, there's so much work that can be done, not just in the environment space.
Good. Well, Anne, it's been a pleasure having this conversation. I frankly learned a lot
Good to know.
in this space, and I'm looking forward to my visit at Masungi. I've always, I've passed by it a couple of times. My friends always invite, but after this conversation, I'll make sure to make time and promote it as well. And again, thank you, and good luck with all your endeavors. And I'm sure there are more reasons to be hopeful coming your way. So
Thank you.
thanks, Anne. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Cheers.